Welcome back to Skills Live. I am Shannon Penrod, and I'm so excited that we're going to Skype in right now with a daddy blogger. We mentioned this earlier. Tom Hibben writes the blog Adventures in Asperger's. And so, Tom, are you there? We want to welcome you to Skills Live.
Thank you.
There he is. Wonderful to have you here. We want to tell everybody about your blog because it's really very fun. It's Adventures in Asperger's, and they can go adventuresinaspergers.com. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And how long have you been doing this blog?
Since right at the diagnosis, so about 2 years.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your family situation and about all your kids, and you have one who has a diagnosis. Tell us your story.
My 9-year-old now, has always been quirky, to say the least. So, rural Oklahoma doctors, he'll grow out of it, was a coin phrase that we always heard. So, until finally it started bleeding into school and really home life and no friends, and it was just obvious. And we just took a proactive stance and we researched as best we could. And we went in fairly sure he'd have high-functioning autism. They told us Asperger's, and we kind of delved nose deep in it.
Yeah, well, and you got a blog together, and I got to say it's a great blog because, there are some things that I consider the hallmark of a great blog, and one of them is having great photos. And you definitely have that under control, Tom, and I understand that that's because your family has an ability where photography is concerned. What is your photography story?
That's right. My mom actually has worked at or managed a photography studio locally here as a retouch artist, even back when before computers, when they would do it with negatives and paint.
Wow.
So that's kind of born and bred into it. My wife, just one of her first jobs as well was like a portrait studio and a chain. So when we got together, we had been friends and we met at a wedding, and then we got together, and once we got married and started doing photography, especially of our kids, is where it started. We've been photographing weddings ever since, and with 3 boys. So it's kind of, if I can photograph my boys the way they act, I can photograph any kids. So that's really how we delved into it.
And I gotta say, the pictures in the blog are really beautiful, and they're very expressive, and it makes it really fun. Even the top of your blog, you guys need to go there, adventuresinaspergers.com. Really beautiful, gorgeous pictures. And one of the things that I was struck when I first saw your blog, before I knew that you guys had a photography studio, I was like, look at, especially in this week's blog, you show your dining room table, and it shows a wall of photography of your kids that is unbelievably gorgeous. And I had a little bit of that mommy envy, thinking, okay, who did they get to take these pictures? Because when we have kids on the spectrum, getting a photo taken is a challenge. It just is. And my child, even now, he makes great eye contact, but there's so much going on in a photo studio and being able to focus. I need somebody that's got a little bit more patience. So I think it's particularly wonderful that you are such a brilliant, that your whole family, you're all brilliant photographers, but you also get it in terms of how to take a picture with a kid on the spectrum.
We have a studio, and it's a really expensive mailbox. I mean, we never use it. From the beginning, we found that stuffy studio photography just kind of makes me sick. It's easier to go to a park or somewhere fun like a train station.
Oh, have fun.
And it's the only exercise I get anyway. So it may take 2 hours or so, but I mean, on a clear day, I only need a glance at about 1/250th of a second.
Oh,
so
awesome.
1,500 photos. If I can get one, that's all that matters.
Well, and I think that's part of it. We always say when we go to a photographer, just shoot like a crazy person. If you're shooting in digital, what does it matter? We need to get a picture looking at the camera, and they always want to be so sparing with the digital. I just want to go, really? You don't have a card? Come on, let's shoot some pictures here.
But
But for people who would love to have you take pictures, let's talk about that briefly, because we might as well, because you obviously have a talent, and I'm sure that there are people who are out there who would like to have you take pictures. Where are you in the world?
We are in Oklahoma, central Oklahoma, but we travel all over the state. We do a lot of weddings, and something new that we've discussed, and I think we're going to start doing, that we've done in the past, is we travel a lot for weddings all over the United States. And so because it is hard to find photographers that have a little patience and know where you're coming from, because just speaking from experience, it is stressful to worry about what's this person going to think of my kid, is he going to have patience, and is it going to be a bust. And so posting where we'll be, and if you want a session, because especially with kids on the spectrum, it's never your regular price, because I mean it's hard raising these kids. So but we service all of Oklahoma, and we travel a lot. So that's something definitely, if you check the blog, we're going to start doing, is posting where we'll be and certain dates. That way people can check us out if that's in their area.
Absolutely. And I was saying to you yesterday, if I have the choice as a parent to go and do business with somebody that I know is supporting their family and working to help their child, I would rather do that than give it to a big corporation. I think there are a lot of people who are out there. So I encourage all of you who are watching, if you're in the Oklahoma area, first of all, wherever you are, check out this blog, because it's hilarious and fun and innovative, but check out the photography as well. We have some pictures too that we're going to filter in, some things from your studio. Look at that gorgeous. Now, are those your boys, Tom?
The three boys? Yeah, those are mine.
Absolutely gorgeous. Look at the, okay, I don't even have to say, the picture speaks for itself, but we're going to cycle through some of the different pictures. Absolutely. So clearly he can't, it's not just his own children that he can take pictures of, he takes pictures of other people's kids as well. But I want to talk about the blog a little bit while these pictures, gorgeous. Look, you can even get animals. You're brilliant, Tom. Really beautiful pictures. But the blog itself, you cover, I was saying before that my criteria, look, that picture, the baby, is our favorite, because that is just, we all here want to have a baby now today because of that. But one of the other hallmarks of a blog for me, and of course I love, look at how gorgeous. And you do beautiful in black and white and in color. It's like they're just, I can't even focus because they're so beautiful. But in any case, one of the other things that I love about a blog is, especially, I love to read blogs by parents who have kids on the spectrum, but I love it when the blog isn't just about autism all the time. It's ironic, because here I am, the Autism Channel, and we're all about that all the time. But I love to read a blog and see a whole life. And you deliver that, Tom, that I get to see not just how you're dealing with Asperger's, but how that fits into your whole life. And that's really wonderful, and you're so eloquent. Tell us a little bit about the blog that's on the top today, your most recent blog, because I think it's great.
Yeah, it's talking to as many parents as I've met, and especially through the blog and the Facebook or Twitter. I mean, one of the biggest things is saying, not even really the kids, it's connecting with your spouse, because we call it Aspergered out. I mean, we're just all autismed out some days, and it's just like, you know what, let's watch a movie or something,
Yeah.
and dates or even out to dinner together is a very, very, very rare occurrence. So my most recent blog, my wife really wanted to go see a movie, just out. There's just no way we could make that happen. Not only with the way our kids are, but having three boys, period, So, so we left, me and the boys, for a couple of hours, and I fed them, and they helped me pick out everything from candles to flowers to costumes, and we went to Chili's. And we put it on our plate like we cooked it and sent her upstairs. And when she came through the front door after I took her out, we had a waiter, who was my 9-year-old Jaden, who was on the spectrum, and he was dressed in his best pea coat as his fancy waiter with his best fancy face on. He speaks with a French accent. Sounds like a drunken pirate. My 6-year-old who has anxiety disorder, he was our chef and he was a bit cagey. But and then our youngest one made movie tickets and popped popcorn, and set up a little movie. We got the first season of Friends because we're not good at picking out chick flicks, but Friends is always a winner. So
Yeah, there you go.
So if we could get past the fact that as soon as she opened the door, the first thing she was greeted by was my youngest one, and he, I guess, had too much of the popcorn and just puked all over us. But I mean, you take it where you can get it. That's in some circles that's very romantic, and I hear it's a delicacy. So
it is very romantic because I'll tell you what's romantic about it: that you took that much time to plan it, and that you included your kids. Is very romantic. That gets like 5 stars. That makes you super dad. I know that there are people watching going, wow. And you know what? It's real life. It's real life. And you wrote this whole big blog about it that was hilarious, hearing that, you know, that you were thrown up on as you came in through the door, and that you not only dealt with that, but went on to have the date. And I have to say, big gold stars for including the kids. Because we see all the time that with these diagnoses, you know, it's a little bit that when life gives you lemons, you got to make some lemonade, and you sure did, and you found the way. I hope your wife appreciated it.
She does, more so. Anytime you can make her cry, I've taught the boys, anytime you make a woman cry, that usually that means you've done good. Not all the time, mind you. Kids like that is, you know, especially since we started homeschooling, I found even the other 2 that are still in regular school, stuff like that is more valuable a lesson than anything you can get from a textbook.
Absolutely.
You know, treat people and how to go above and beyond, and it's not that big of a deal, and it makes a huge difference for people.
Yes, it does. Let's talk a little bit about the homeschooling, because this is a new venture for you this year, correct?
Right, yeah.
And so why did you make the decision to homeschool, and how is it going for you?
You know, our school system here in Oklahoma is they do what they can with what they have.
Mm-hmm.
I give the staff that worked with my son, I give them credit, because he is not easy to work with, because he cannot hold attention for anything. I mean, but you know, with I don't know if it's budget or maybe I'm not very good at IEP meetings because I don't wield a shotgun.
No shotguns at IEP meetings. It's a rule. There's a rule.
I just couldn't get anybody to help. I mean, really, just when the teachers throw their hands up and say, I just don't know what else to do. And it's like, well, that's my job then. So it's kind of how we looked at it. You know, it's like when nobody else knows what to do, then you kind of got to figure it out and do it on your own. So. Well,
and I'm hearing this story from a couple of different dads around the country right now, and it's so disheartening to me because you say it so eloquently, they don't know what to do. But that, I have to tell you that you stepped up and took responsibility and said, then I will take him home and I will school him. But in all honesty, the school needs to figure out what to do. But as you have said to me, and as a couple of other dads have said, but in the meantime, until they do, I have a child that I want to educate.
Right, because, I mean, while I want them to get it figured out, I don't, you know, a lot of times stuff like that is going to be finding a light switch in a dark room, you know, trial and error, and I can't afford, he's got too much potential to be the guinea pig.
And that's why you are an awesome dad, because you say it stops with you. And in keeping with that, I know we talked with Sunday Stillwell a couple of weeks ago. She's the one who does the Ryan Gosling for special needs moms, and you saw that and decided to take that up a little bit for special needs dad. Is that correct?
Right. Best part of my week is Sunday's Ryan Gosling vlog.
I know, for a lot of us. I'm so happy to hear that, because my husband looked at it and said, this is hilarious, but why isn't somebody doing this for dads? And I love the fact that you did. And I had thought of it, when he said that, I thought of it in a different sort of way, that it would be a girl saying, you know, hey, dude, this or that. But you didn't do that at all. Tell us what you did with the Ryan Gosling for dads.
Yeah, you know, that's, a lot of people have said that, you know, why didn't you put a girl on there? And it's like, well, it's not special needs some hot chick. It's special needs some hot guy. And I'm fine with that. like I said, I can appreciate an attractive guy, and if he wants to help me out with my son and give me a pep talk while he's doing it, I don't care if he's wearing a shirt or not.
There you go. I love it.
So Ryan Gosling, he likes to hang around, and he likes to, on Fridays, he gives me a little pep talk and tells me what I'm doing right.
There you go. And you've got a blog about this, and I see one of yours. It's, "Hey boy, I thought we could meet here under the overpass and switch identities, Parent Trap style, and I'll take the homeschool lessons today, and you head over to my place and hang with the models." I thought that was really funny and very inventive. And what I see in you, Tom, is that you're taking the situation that you have and finding the joy and finding the answers even when it's difficult.
So I'm sure everyone knows that has a kid like this. It's sometimes all you can do is sit back and laugh. I mean, really.
Yeah.
It is the smartest kid I've ever met in my life. I mean, he talks about going to Princeton. I mean, he wants to go to college so bad he wants to be a chemist.
Yay.
But he puts his pants backwards every single day. I mean, I don't understand how it happens. I don't understand how we only eat round foods, or the pizza cheese doesn't look the same as it did yesterday. But you just have to roll with it.
Right. You got to keep your sense of humor. But I'm sure that there are parts of it that are tough. And I always like to say, whenever we can get a dad to talk about things, and obviously a dad who's good with words, and you are, tell us about the hard times. Like, what's the hardest for you as a dad?
It's probably that classic, Leave It to Beaver, Andy Griffith show. Jaden's never going to want to go, fishing, or he'll never want to, he doesn't have a real interest in going and shooting Red Ryder BB guns and shooting his eye out. He's never going to stick his tongue to a flagpole and freeze it there, So, I mean, I guess that's the hardest part, is to kind of reevaluate your whole, what it is to be a dad. I guess.
Yeah.
It's not what you want it to be, it's what it is, and you got to accept that and make it your own. So I mean, that's what you can do.
But it sounds like you're very good at seeing him for who he is and appreciating the joy of that.
Yeah, most of the time.
I'm sure it's surprising sometimes too, because our kids they're very interesting.
I agree, and I get emails sometimes, and I try and sprinkle in, especially on Facebook, little here's and there's, because it's easy to write blogs and about the good times and not ever put in there like, hey, today I have one shoe on and I'm gonna have a drink because I'm pulling my hair out. You know what I mean? So everybody has those days, and it's not all peachy.
Yeah.
So,
there's that reality.
It sucks sometimes.
Yes.
So these kids require a lot of attention, but I wouldn't have it any other way. He's the most unique kid I've ever met. So
that's wonderful. And you are starting, because you've got quite a following now, you're starting to get people who ask you for advice, who look to you and say, what should I do about this, that, or the other? How do you feel about that?
Super weird. I mean, I don't know. I've been in school for a long time to do other jobs, so it's like, if you want to know what medicines to give if someone's having a heart attack, I'm okay. I can tell you that. But if you want to know why your son is eating a crayon and you can't get him to stop, but he only eats the purple ones, I'm not sure. So it's very weird, but it's been good though, because sometimes people don't even realize something until somebody asks the right question, and then it's like, I'm not saying this is right, but this is what we do.
Exactly.
So, and sometimes people don't even want your advice. Some people just want to be like, hey, have you ever heard of this? Is this weird? Is my kid the only one doing this?
Yeah.
And that's really why I started the blog, because it's like, here where we live, we were aliens. I mean, nobody knew kids like this. And then once you dive into the subculture, you realize you're not alone. And there's it's super common. So
yeah, and I think you're right. Knowing that you're not alone is a big calming thing, and going, okay, so my child is not the only person. And I gotta say, Tom, for dads to be able to see, moms and dads to be able to see that you're surviving and thriving, and that your marriage is surviving and thriving, and that you're still able to laugh, you're a great role model.
it was easy for me. Like I said in my blog, this date night, it's easy for me because I married way out of my class. She's too hot for me, so she knows, I'm here. So it's very easy. But that's definitely one of the, it's like therapies and school and IEPs and pee in the bed and food. It's like if you can strengthen your marriage and make sure you're kosher there, then everything else kind of falls into place, it seems like. So.
Well, you're a smart dad. We should say, there's always an impact on the family in terms of careers and things. You were originally a fireman, correct?
Paramedic, yes.
And so you're a paramedic now. You do that part of the time while you're doing the photography, but correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, the photography is a love, but it also helps to make sure that you're available on a time schedule so that you can be there to support the family for all the things that need to be done. Is that correct?
That's right. 48-hour shifts, living at a EMS station, getting called out in the middle of the night, if you have a bad day at home and he's just shut down and can't even put on pants, it's like, that's hard for one parent to deal with. Yeah. And there's just no way, even a phone call is hard in that kind of environment. So to back that off to part-time, to even working in a hospital now where I'm only 12 hours, the photography gives us the freedom to really tailor our schedule around our life instead of, you really have to, once you do something you love, you realize it's not so important to tailor your life to your work, but your work life. So,
well, I think you've got a wonderful story, and I love the blog. I'm going to enjoy following the blog, and we want to encourage everybody to follow the blog because you're an awesome dad, and so many dads could learn so much from you, Tom, in terms of the fact that, you continue to show up on a daily basis for your wife and for your kids. Your story is awesome. We so appreciate you, and we're going to look forward to keeping watching the blog, and I hope that you'll allow us to check in with you from time to time. We'd love to have you back on the show.
That'd be great. Anytime.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful, happy St. Patrick's Day weekend, and we'll keep checking in.
Thank you so much. It was nice.
Thank you, Tom. Bye-bye.
Bye.